Hi guys, TinaGale here, and I'm so excited to be joining Janet at RTS for a 6x6 series. So be sure to check out her channel if you've not already found her. I'll have links down below. There's also a slew full of other YouTube creators that are joining her today. So check out the list of all of those YouTube channels in the description below. And we're all going to share some kind of layout created with 6x6 paper pads. So if you're like me, I love them. I love the economic price of them, to be able to get all kinds of patterned papers from the collection, as well as all of the small prints. So I'm one that loves my pattern paper. I like to stack it and pile it on and use lots of it. So the small prints help me do that. So today I'm going to share a layout that's one of my favorite go-to designs using 6x6 paper pads. I've worked through, she's featuring the Scrapbook Generation 6x6 paper pad class, and I've worked through that a couple of times, and I'll be sharing layouts that I created in that class as well as other layouts that I've done using 6x6 paper pads. So come back and enjoy that video where I'm just going to share layouts and give you ideas. Also, I'll have linked down below a playlist that I have on my channel for layouts that I've done using 6x6 paper pads, and there'll also be a link at the end, so be sure to check those out. So today I'm going to work with Simple Stories Summer Fresh. This is an older collection, and I've used this before, and I think I did it when I was going through the 6x6 paper pad class from SG. So it's already been cut into. I already have lots of little pieces that were fussy cut. I love Simple Stories, plain and simple. They're probably one of my most favorite manufacturers. They've not created anything that I don't like. I love the rustic and the distressed kind of feel of it. And this one has it. And even though it's a bright summer collection, it's toned down. So I'm not one to like really, really bright colors. But I do like them within the Simple Stories collections. So this is one of the papers, and I have to apologize. I have some of this cut already because I had a malfunction on the video, so I'm re-taping this one more time. So this paper is one that did the work for me that I want to do in my design. So I'll come back to that in a minute. But this collection has all of these small cut-aparts. So if this was the full 12x12 sheet, this would be 3x4 cut-aparts. So this is another reason why I love these. These are perfect to do layering in your clusters and to put your journaling on and everything. So you can tell I've already cut some of this from previous layouts. I went through, I have this one photo of my kids with some of their friends. And I just went through and tried to pull colors that went with the photo and also kind of the day they were at Silver Dollar City. So, you know, I know it's rustic, it's country, there's lots of wood. So those were the colors that I went through. I loved the red gingham. I like this plaid. This brought all of the colors together that I was going to use in the color scheme. So it has green and yellow. So I went with the polka dot green and yellow. So these are some of the patterns that I'm already using. Here's another cut apart. So this would be the 4x6 cut apart. Perfect for journaling. And this is one, this paper pad has two of each pattern. So this is one I have fussy cut all of these little pieces and used on embellishments on other pages. Perfect size. This is another one of those strips. So I'm going to come back to that. But so that was just some of the papers, and you can see some of the different colors. And this was left over from previous layouts. So just a really fun collection. So that was my first step, was going through just picking out the papers that I wanted, which were kind of these. And I picked up one of these. I had, this one was already cut apart from another sheet that I had left over from a layout, so I had it. But then instead of cutting up all of these papers, on this pattern paper, there was the yellow polka dot already in a strip. I had this one already cut up from another pattern paper like this, and there was this one, but it had a piece to the side, and I just fussy cut around that tab. So if you can't already tell, my design that I'm going to be doing is just strips of 6-inch papers, and I like, you can do them all the same size. I've done both. They're both really cute. But on this one, I wanted to do different sizes. So you can see I have all different widths of the paper. but this is my color scheme. And then I just have some pieces fussy cut, sorry. And I matted my photo, and I cut my photo down just a little bit at the top so that I could fit it on the 6x6 patterned paper, and just chose a neutral to mat that. So that was the first thing I did, was finding my patterned papers. I went to my stash to find embellishments, and you're going to see the embellishments over here that I've went ahead and decided these are definitely ones that I want to use. So I have some pieces of paper that were cut away, fussy cut from those. This was a little paper clip thing that I just popped off the little bird. I have some wood veneer. I pulled out this 12 by 12 sticker sheet. This is an older, even older than that, Simple Stories collection. It says 2011, and it matches really well, but you can tell in the older collections it was very, very distressed, which I still like this. I know not everybody does, but the colors are the same, so they'll match in really well if I need little labels or words, you know, just different things to tuck in for embellishments. I knew I needed some texture because so far everything that I had done was cut out from patterned paper. So I pulled out this chipboard sheet, and mainly for this little banner here. It goes really well, which I'll just keep this one because this kind of has all the color schemes. It goes really well with this paper, even though it's a different line. This is by Echo Park. This is Simple Stories. But it has all the same colors. It has the same feel of the summer. It even has kind of these same little flowers that you see in this. So I think that's fun. So I may include a little banner. I pulled out some different word stickers, thickers, things like that to do a title with. So I have lots of different variations. I have a yellow, but again it's flat. I have some puffy in the white, and I have black in the foam. And this is the one that I really, really liked, was this one, and I think this is the one that I've decided. This Good Times on this white banner came from this, so I think it's going to be a good match. I also just pulled out this little sheet of Simple Stories labels, these little stickers. That's another word. Another wood veneer. And then this is a sticker, but it's canvas, and you can journal or layer. So I pulled that out. It has the red. It kind of has that same feel. So those are the embellishments that I pulled from my stash to kind of play with. The next thing that I did was try to decide on my background. And I usually always have a piece of 12 by 12, either white or off-white cardstock to kind of lay my stuff out to begin with, because I like to have it on something stable, and then I can just slide it off. Because of the old antiqued wood in the back, I really wanted to do a wood patterned paper. So I went to my pattern papers and looked through that, and I found this one that was a whitewash, and it matches really well with the color of the wood here. I know there's a big exposure here where the sun's coming in, but it matches this wood, but I really didn't want the really thin planks. I didn't care for that. And by itself it looks good, but when you start putting in all the strips of pattern paper, I thought it was just a bit too busy with the smaller planks. So I kind of decided not to do that one. And I had this blue, and that is just beautiful. I loved that because of just the bright, beautiful colors. So if you look at that, that's a really good choice. And especially if you like working with bright colors. But that wasn't really what I was looking for either. I also pulled out red and blue cardstock because I was going to cut this down and mat it a little bit. So I think that's where they kind of lost me, was the red and the blue. And I could have matted on the white, the off-white. But again, it looks good, but just not what I was looking for. Or the red. So this is what I decided on. I found this paper. It's really old. It's one of those really thin, flimsy papers that you could get at Hobby Lobby, and I think they still sell it. But you definitely couldn't use it by itself, but I knew I was matting it. So I matted it on the dark navy blue, and that is going to be my background. And then these are going to be my strips. So back to these. Like I said, when I started, I had all of these pattern papers, and I was just going to cut these down to size. So I had them laid out. And then I ran across this paper and I thought, well, this is perfect. This kind of gives me a little phrase. It could be part of my journaling because there's not a lot to say on this photo. This was just the kids having fun together. No big story, just want to document their friendships. But this helped save paper, so I could save this for bigger pieces and another layout. And this just kind of gave me the strips that I needed. Now this design, I love doing this design. I've done it several times. It can also go up and down this way. So let me turn this. If your photo is landscape or you have two that you've done in wallet size that are portrait and you want to do that, you can turn it and do this. So I'm going to set this aside because all three of these papers are perfect for a layout with a landscape photo. So I can just mix some of these same patterns, cut these three apart, and what a great layout that would be. So that was my quick tip for doing those, but this is the design that I'm going to do. So I'm going to put you on fast forward and we're going to get this layout together really, really quick. That's the great thing about 6x6 paper pads and just kind of using them as they are. Layouts go together really, really quick. So I hope you enjoy this. If you're not already subscribed to my channel, I would love to have you subscribe. So just hit the subscribe button and the notification bell at the end. So let's get this layout put together. So I'm going to start by taking these little tabs and tickets that I fussy cut from the one paper and put it up at the top just for a little cluster up there. And even though I had lots of little layers, I had those three tickets that I had fussy cut, and this one was a yellow one, and there's a small yellow ticket on there, but this one is a little bit bigger, and I felt like it needed just a little bit of extra something. In my three embellishment clusters, I'm going to make sure that there's the yellow and the red and the green in all three places, and so that just helped bring a little bit more of that yellow up there. So now I'm going to start putting the strips on. I had already decided in what order that I wanted them, and I wanted the photo just a little bit off center. I don't want it right in the center of the page. So I chose thinner papers that would go to the right hand side and less so that it would move over a little bit that way. And you can see on the right hand side when I started applying the papers, I had put them in a straight row. And then I decided I wanted to kind of offset them just to make it a little bit more fun and whimsical and kind of more for the feel of the day and the photo and their friendship. And so I'm going to take some of those up and move them so that they're offset. So that's another little way that you can change up this design, is whether you have it completely straight and linear or you offset them a little bit. They both give a little bit of different looks. And you're going to see here, this is something you have to be careful of if you're using really thin, cheap paper, is it can tear if you start moving stuff. So that lifted just a little bit of that design, but it was okay because I'm just going to put the paper right back down where it was so it's covered up. But just know that if you decide to use some stuff that's in your stash, or if you have some paper that's really thin, you have to be careful if you pull it up and put it back down. So that is the bulk of the design. How quick was that? So now we're ready to embellish. That 12 by 12 sticker sheet, that little number set is the only thing I ended up using off of that. Everything else was fussy cut from those papers. So you can really do a really nice layout with just a 6x6 paper pad and nothing else. So this little medallion thing up here was a stamped image that was just in my little yellow container. So I keep certain embellishments by color, and so when I started designing and needing embellishments for this, I went and pulled just a few things out of those little color boxes. I add the wood veneer on top, and then that little epoxy bird I put off to the left, and the little red bracket with the word remember, that little square, that was another one of those little fussy cut images, and I just tucked that up. So you can see I have red, yellow, and green up there, so I've completed all of my colors. So now I'm moving down to the bottom, and I had that yellow little strip of paper that's an L Studio. It was just a little cast off, and it says snapshot notes, and I'm going to start that as my cluster and put it underneath the photo. And I had the other two tickets that I fussy cut, the red and the green, so I just tucked those up underneath there so I'd have something to put these little wood veneer people on. And here's my little puffy sticker title. And that layout is finished. It took less than 25 minutes to put that all together. So a great, quick layout. I hope you love this. And I hope you enjoy going through all of the other YouTubers and checking out what they've created with their 6x6 paper pads. Thank you, Janet, so much for inviting me to come along and play with you. It's been an honor, and I have enjoyed really pulling out my 6x6 paper pads. So here is a link to my 6x6 playlist. You can check that out for other layouts I've created. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you right back here with a 6x6 layout share.